Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. AMC stock is seeing some incredible shorting pressure here today, and I want to talk about it and ultimately what's about to happen with AMC stock. So buckle up, get ready. We are currently still loading the rocket ship with fuel because it's about to be a wild ride. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's dive into everything you guys need to know. So, if we dive into the first thing, Cinmark stock is up. Why this analyst reversed course? Cinmark Holdings stock was making strides Wednesday after an analyst reversed course on the movie theater chain, citing a recent downtick in its share price that provides an entry opportunity ahead of second quarter earnings. Look who it is. B. Riley Securities analyst Eric Wold raised his rating on Cinmark to a buy from neutral and lifted his price target to $23 from $20 in a Wednesday report about a month after he downgraded the shares. So Eric Wold, I kind of like the guy for being an analyst, which means I can't really like them too much because they're so wrong all the time. But he's a little bit more constructive, a little bit more optimistic, a little bit less biased towards stocks, especially the ones that he covers, which AMC is one, Cinmark is obviously another one. And he tends to be one of the most bullish analysts on AMC stock. He actually believes that this capital raise that AMC is going to do is going to benefit AMC's share price. And it's simple. I mean, that's my whole logic. I think this will cause the MOAS. A lot of people think this is like the end of AMC after this reverse split. I think it's quite the opposite. I think it's the beginning of the path higher, where literally, like I said, loading up the rocket ship. And that's because, sure, you'll get a little bit of dilution, but AMC is only going to have to dilute the stock about 25% to raise over $1 billion. Now, if you do 50%, gain a couple billion, whatever the number is, it doesn't matter. It's a very small percentage of the float relative to what we have seen in the past that will need to be diluted in order to raise billions and billions of capital. That is positive, no matter which way you put it. Like, what's more positive? Or what's more negative, maybe I should say? Dilution or raising billions? It's simple, guys. It's very, very simple. Now, if you have a counter argument to my argument, post it down below in the comment section. I would love to hear it. Now, if we go ahead and look at some of the option activity and talk about what's happening with AMC stock today, it's clear. Hedge funds, institutions, very, very bearish on AMC. And we could see this reflected in the put to call ratio. It's at the highest levels that it has been at literally ever in AMC's history. Pretty clear. They're going to be wrong. You can't have this many people right. That's just how the markets work. You can't have this many people right. Who's going to pay out this many right people? I don't know. Definitely. I mean, maybe me because I'm betting bullish on AMC. Who knows? But if we take a look at the option activity, I mean, you could see just how bearish people are. These trades are worth millions and millions of dollars for these individual trades. Look at this one trade today, a $12.6 million put. Like, why? Why are you doing that? That doesn't even make sense. On a risk to reward basis, that makes 0 sense. It looks like the bad has already been priced into AMC. I mean, the stock's trading at the lows. It's not like the stock's at the highs. I could make an argument that would make a little bit more sense if that was the case. And AMC was trading at the highs and you're getting $5, $10, $12 million put positions. Okay, that would make a little bit of sense. That is not the case right now. We've had months to think about this situation with the courts. This ultimate reverse split, the ultimate dilution that's coming, and what that means for AMC. It's been priced in already. You've already seen the downside for that. So what gives you downside then? It's hard for me to make a case that this is ultimately bearish for AMC. But we'll see what does happen. Now, today you're seeing a positive order value of less than 1%. I'm really not seeing any calls coming through here on the option wire. Here is one, a $4 call for September 15th worth, get this, $11,000. This is nothing compared to these put positions. So this is putting a lot of that shorting pressure, that downside pressure on AMC stock today. And that's a reason why AMC is still in the green, but not as green as you might have expected. that it would be, considering the big beat that we've seen to inflation today. Inflation is apparently plummeting, and that's positive, right? That should be very positive for AMC, but you're getting a lot of shorting pressure. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the inflation report that came out today. So let's just go ahead into the economic calendar. It makes it a little bit easier to see, I think. Perfect. Let's go ahead and pull it up. So the headline year over year inflation number came in at 3%. Last month's reading was 4%. You were expecting 3.1%. That was a beat. Core inflation rate year over year came in at 4.8%. Last month's reading was 5.3%. You were expecting 5%. That was, again, another very good beat. Core inflation rate month over month. You were expecting that to come in at 0.3%. Last month's reading was 0.4%. This number came in at 0.2%. A really good beat here. A really, really good beat. That is 2.4% annualized. That is a number that we can deal with, that we can live with as investors in the markets. Now, your inflation rate month over month was expected to come in at 0.3%. Last month's reading was 0.1%. It came in at 0.2%. So again, beating expectations. All around the board, this was a positive inflation report. Very good. Very, very good. Hard to make a case that inflation is reaccelerating when the data just shows otherwise. Now, if we take a look at the data that we're going to be getting tomorrow, PPI month over month, you're expecting that to come in at positive 0.2%. Last month's reading was negative 0.3%. So you are expecting a acceleration in producer side of inflation. That data comes out at 8:30 in the morning tomorrow. Then you're going to get core PPI that's expected to come in at 0.2%. Last month's reading was 0.2%. So kind of expecting that to remain, sideways as well. Now, initial jobless claims, this could be one of the biggest data points of tomorrow if it does move, like it has in the past. You're expecting 250,000 net job ads. Last week's reading was 248,000. Reason this can be so important is because it's only 1 week behind rather than 2 months or 1 month behind like some of the government jobs data reports that we get. So as long as this number does not, rise to a crazy degree like 300,000 or 290,000, stocks should be okay with this, right? Ultimately, markets care about a recession more than anything else. They care about growth going away more than anything else. So if your initial jobless claims do spike, that's not a good sign for avoiding a recession. So we'll see what happens. And I think that's the big concern right now is that ultimate recession. And then on Friday, you're going to get Michigan consumer sentiment. We're expecting that to come in at 65.5, a little bit better than 64.4 like we've seen at the last month's reading. Inflation expectations are expected to be around 3.1% for the 5-year inflation expectations. That would be up slightly from last month's reading of 3%. And Michigan consumer expectations supposed to come in around 61.8. Last month's reading was 61.5. And the 1-year inflation expectations are expected to come in at 3.3%, the same as last month's reading at 3.3%. So those are the biggest data points and catalysts we have throughout the rest of this week. One of the biggest stories lately with AMC stock is actually the cost to borrow fees, which is probably not a huge surprise. And those cost to borrow fees today from Interactive Brokers, 974%. Call it 975%. Insane. Dude, you're out of your gorge to be shorting AMC at these cost to borrow fees, especially considering everything else. These hedge funds and institutional investors, they won't even consider the bull case here for AMC. That's what ultimately will squeeze them out of those short positions and ultimately cause the MOAS. In my personal opinion, I want to be completely honest. This is my opinion. This is not your opinion. Go ahead and formulate your own opinion based off of all of the data that we are seeing. But my personal opinion is clear. I think this does cause the MOAS. And I want to be very, very, very clear on that. I've said things before, and some of them have been right, some have been wrong. But I can't remember one time where it was very clear that I believe this caused the MOAS. Now, again, I could be wrong. This could be a huge negative. The markets might say, hey, AMC raised $5 billion in capital, sell the stock to zero. That's possible. Does that sound logical, though? AMC raises billions of capital, short the stock into the ground. That doesn't sound logical to me, okay? And that's essentially what you're betting on if you think AMC is going to continue to fall from here. So I guess come to your own logic, come to your own conclusion. Now, as far as AMC stock, you are currently on the threshold securities list, 22.5% short interest off your float, 116 million shares that are currently sold short. Cost to borrow max 1,060%, cost to borrow minimum. Last real rating that we did get earlier in the day today was about 800%, and the cost to borrow average 942%. So the numbers definitely look very encouraging over here, to say the least. If we take a look at some of the technicals as well, AMC stock kind of just in this bottoming process. That's what it looks like to me. Kind of starting to look like a small cup and handle formation that is starting to take place over the last 15 ish trading days here. So that'll be interesting to see if that does actually materialize and start to give us some of that upside. RSI also approaching that neutral level of 50. You're at 47.92, so you're slightly under that neutral level as of right now. So there definitely is some room for the RSI to climb, as well as AMC share price. Now, the next big level of resistance, if we do start to rally, if we do get a ruling from the courts, keep in mind, I don't know when that's going to be. Could be this week, could be next week, could be a month from now. Who knows? Morgan, the judge, has said, yeah, we're not going to give you notice. We're just going to make our decision, and you're going to deal with it one of these days. So it's really up in the air when anything is going to get settled out. But that 50-day moving average is going to be important. That is at $4.81 per share. The 100-day moving average is at $5.05 per share, and the 200-day moving average at $5.53 per share. I think after the court ruling, it's possible you could trade up or down. If you do get a down move, then you're probably down like 3 to 5%. Maybe that would be like 5% is my worst case scenario. Maybe I'm wrong, though. Again, maybe the markets have not priced it in. Maybe the markets are stupider than we thought. But we'll see. If you do get that upside move, it could be 20-30%. And that's, again, just basing that off of what we've seen in the past. Every time AMC has raised capital, the stock has rallied. I don't think this time is going to be any different. I think it's going to be the same. AMC raises capital, the stock ultimately goes crazy. So that's kind of what I have for you guys. There really isn't too much that is actually happening. We did get, I believe, the Fed beige book that came out today. Not a lot that actually, came out of that as well. Kind of a slow day overall, besides the inflation data that did come out. Yeah, and you could see Fed beige book right here. Basically the same thing. Fed members expecting slower growth. At the same time, they're seeing the labor market continuing to kind of give some back, not being as tight as what it has been previously in the last year and a half or so. So that's kind of everything that's happening here on the day today. That is everything you guys need to know. Let's take a look at the Stonko Tracker data actually briefly before we wrap up this video. So this week, got about 16,000 calls in the money, 151,000 calls out the money, 94,000 puts in the money, and 127,000 puts out the money. Not too much has actually changed here, but you've seen a little bit more calls go out the money today, as well as puts go out the money. Looks like people are buying more positioning, as obviously you can already know, as we went over the option activity, especially on the put side. Very, very negative. So these calls actually are mostly retail. So this is really a big battle between hedge funds and institutions on the put side and retail on the call side. So that's what I have for you. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, and source your comments, questions, or concerns down below in the comment section. Let me know, when do you think the MOS is coming? What do you think is going to cause the MOS? What do you think we need to see? Just let me know where you guys are at with all of this information, guys. So that is it. You guys check out the links down below in the description of this video if you guys want to stay up to date with everything that's happening. If you guys want to come trade with me live in real time, made a trade today actually on GM. If you guys want to see that, link down below in the description of this video for the trading community. Get yourself free stock with Webull. Sign up, deposit $1 or more, whatever you feel comfortable with. But if you want some free money, deposit $1, get 15 free stocks with Webull. Throw a couple free stocks my way. It's a win-win for everyone involved. So that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.